Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
I I know I keep saying this in all my streams that I'm doing, but I did a factory restart on my phone, which meant I had to like re-add all my apps, and now my Get Vocal app, that's the streaming platform we use, it's doing all these weird things. It's come up with this message now, going blah 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 blah. And I don't know how to make it go away.
Oh no. Yeah, I wonder if they just got an update to begin with because like I said today it looks a little we're different. So it looks like I'm looking down because
Yeah.
we are on the bottom of my screen
But
today.
it's working. It's
It's
working.
working.
We're out
It
there.
is.
That reminds me, I must go on Facebook and make it go live on my profile.
Yeah, I'm just about to check the page as well and see if I can see everyone tuning in with us and I'll share it as well. So we'll be with you in one moment, everyone. There we go.
Yeah, that stuff. I don't know why, but I can see the comments on my profile. But when I look at our Evolving the Cosmic Heart page, Facebook won't show them to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. And that's the same, whatever I do, I can't get it to come up. But
Huh.
oh well, I get to read them afterwards.
Yeah. That's really strange. I do have to go over to your page and look at the comments afterwards too as well. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
funny, funny, funny. So I am just sharing it right now, letting everyone know that we are live.
It's the 3rd of August today, and it's a full moon.
It is, yes, it is. Full moon in Aquarius. Potent,
Ah,
potent one.
I was wondering what it was in. I knew it was obviously in something, but yeah, it's been
There.
oh, what a day. It's been quite a day for me.
Has it? Yes, your day is almost over, where mine is just getting started.
Well, I can tell you it went from worse to better. So
That's good. That's good.
that's
That's
good,
always a
isn't
good
it?
thing.
So that's my prophecy for everyone's day.
It's, yes, since you are in the future.
I'm in the future. Of course, if you're already having a good day, that means it's just going to go from good to really fantastic.
Yes, there we go. Something to look forward to. Oh, I see a few ladies popping in, Julie and Deborah and Annie. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. And anybody else, if you want to leave a comment, otherwise, I am not ignoring you. It's just hard to see because we've got two different streams going here. So, um, welcome. Happy full moon day.
So have you been doing your preparation for getting back to healing clinic?
Yes, yes, yes. So, those of you who follow my work know that I also have another business called Oracles of the Light with two of my soul sisters. And since COVID, back in March, we obviously closed down. We were only doing work online and remotely. But as of August 1st, we opened back up our healing sanctuary, known as what we call it our Temple of Light. And that's where we do in-person healing sessions. So it's been a bit interesting and a little chaotic trying to, meet all of these strange and new criterias, for safety and all the regulations. But we're doing it anyway. We're doing the work. So that's the important thing. And that's what we're focusing on.
So are you all ready now to start again?
Yes, I took my first client back in the space on Saturday on the 1st. So we've got some clients coming into the space this week. So busy, but great busy. So
Yeah, and how did it feel, seeing people in the flesh again?
Well, I mean, where I'm at in New Jersey, our space is located in Pennsylvania because we kind of straddle the border there, and the regulations are so different, from state to state. So we actually have been able to see people. We've been able to go shopping. We've been able to go into places now, restaurants. Some you can eat inside, some you have to stay outside. It just depends. So it wasn't different in that sense, but it felt different in how I had to it felt so less intimate, if that made sense. And
Yeah.
I got into the
Yeah.
flow. I did. I got into the flow. And, you know, the person that I was working on was a dear friend of mine as well. So it wasn't completely unusual, but I had to get out of my mind for a second because it started to bother me how even in person remote I still had to be, if that made sense. And it hurt my heart a little bit because, you know, it's what we're doing here is meant to be building that more of that intimate connection, and it's very sacred, the work that's being done. But space, we can do this work across space and time, so it doesn't matter if you're 10 feet away from me or a foot away from me.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's our humanity that needs that contact, isn't it?
It is.
Sort of
It is.
bodiness,
especially in a time where, you know, this whole great awakening happening, in a time where we're actually being guided to come closer together. There's these, yes, spiritually, you know, unconditionally come closer together, but by all means stay 6 feet apart, you know. So it's a very difficult balance there, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, who knows how long it'll go on for and what will happen in the end, but it won't last forever.
Mm-mm.
You know, one way or the other, it won't last forever, ever. And I think we're all going to appreciate things that we just would never have thought to appreciate before, like being able to have that physical contact and things we've just taken for granted, because of course you do. I mean, it's really going to be lovely, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And, you know, we got to go through these bumps and the turbulence right now. And some of the things that there's so much like agree to disagree on. But in the end, I mean, even before it was being like cliche, the Great Awakening, I was hearing that intuitively. I kept hearing that from my higher self saying, this is a great awakening. And it really is. And I think that if we can look at it in that way, that the turbulence of trying to find our groove isn't going to last forever. And really using this opportunity, as we've talked about in the past, Rachel, to really reflect on what is being presented to you now and how you can really come back to self. And that's really what we're doing. This whole period of isolation, it's making us all really come back to self and recognize, you know, more that we just hadn't had the time for before. So,
I mean, things have been pretty normal here now, really, in Denmark for a while. I don't know if it will stay like that because, you know, there might be some more peaks on the way. People keep speculating about it, but so far, since it sort of peaked in March, it's sort of stayed so low that pretty much, I don't know. I mean, obviously people's anxiety levels are different, but mine are fairly calm. But it will go up if things start going up again. I know they will. But it's not really on my mind for myself personally right now. More it's on my mind globally, and obviously in the UK. You know, I look at the UK headlines, and it's a very different story there. For my son, who will be coming over to visit, hopefully at the end of August. So I haven't seen him since February, so that's going to be really exciting. But yeah, no, the things that have been on my mind, things I wanted to talk about tonight were bees.
Bees. That's a wonderful topic. My favorite topic. I was really feeling bee energy today, and that's so funny that you said that. I've got like the golden eyeshadow, and I know this sounds like very, you know, silly, but it is a bee palette. It was the whole design of the makeup line was actually designed around bees. So I had to show it to you. It's
because I think there's something going on. So there was bees, and the other one was the divine feminine, and so we'll start on bees.
Okay.
We'll start on bees. Right, so I thought, I'm really looking forward to talking about this to Jamie to see if, you know, what bee things come up. So last week when I was in bed looking at my phone like I shouldn't be just before bed, I was looking through the BBC headlines, And I came across this story. It was a 4-minute video from the BBC about bees. And, if I see something about bees, I want to read it because, I'm interested in bees. I really love bees. And also, Chloe Metcalf, the one that does the New Earth codes and did the Oracle thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, she got some bees. And she posts on her, but she's an Oracle. She's made an Oracle card pack. She's a fabulous woman, Chloe. She's Australian, and she works with all New Earth stuff and codes and everything. And she got these bees, and she was talking about how she bought them for her. I mean, yeah, she loves them, and it's all sustainability, but because they're so relaxing. And I was like, really? Because although I really like these, I haven't thought of them as like therapeutic. Anyway, so I was scrolling through the BBC headlines, and this headline came up about the therapeutic sound of Slovenian bees, and I was like, what? So I watched this thing. Oh my god! So in Slovenia, they have a really long tradition of beekeeping. It was saying there's 2 million people that live in Slovenia, and like nearly everybody's got a beehive out in their garden. And then they had like a group of firemen on there saying they've been going and listening to bees because it really helps their stress levels, and it means they don't suffer so much after traumatic incidents and stuff like that. And I'm going, what's going on here? And then they're saying, like the schools have apiaries, which is like a collection of hives, but they sort of build it in like to an outside building all made of wood.
Wow.
And the teachers and psychologists and parents will go out there and have discussion. And then this woman comes on and she says, oh yeah, and a lot of people actually have beds in their apiary. My grandmother did this. So if you're suffering from stress and you need relaxation, you go and sleep. So they have all like the hives, and then there's like plexiglass, and then there's a bed. So you're not like, you haven't got bees flying around you, but you're right next to them. You can hear them. And I was like, I've got to try this. So I found a recording of bees on the internet. And I played it, and I was thinking, I'm not going to like this, because like listening to the sound of it, I thought, because like, I don't know if you had this as a kid, but I got stung a few times as a kid by bees. Oh my God, it really hurt. And I was thinking that my body would be doing that instead of like relaxing. It didn't. It really liked it, and I calmed down because, and that was the other thing. That was another thing I was reading on the BBC, was how many people, especially women, and mothers have struggled going to sleep during COVID-19. And I have, like, horribly, like, I've never had sleep problems like this in my life. So the next day, I was completely obsessed with it. I spent my whole morning making an 8-hour video on YouTube of bee sounds. And I even bought a video editor, because I used to use Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker, you can't get it anymore.
I complained.
I even paid to buy something very, very similar, because it can't be too complicated. I can't use it. And I made this 8-hour video.
Oh, I love that though.
Which I now listen to at night. And I've been going to sleep, like it can take me half an hour, 2 hours, 3. I've been asleep. 10 minutes. I've been going to sleep. And then one night it's like.
So do you want to hear something incredibly funny and magical at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a very strong connection to bees. Ever since I really got more called to working with, Mary Magdalene, and really working more into her true understanding of her, who she really was. And the bees kept coming to me, and I did a lot of research on the ancient priestesses known as the Bee Priestesses. Many those who studied under the ancient ways of the goddess Isis in the temple of Isis were taught the ancient ways of the beekeeping, their symbolic way of being, communicating, creating, co-creating together. And this is a whole class, a whole topic like in itself, and we could do this all day. So I'll try to make it as short as I can. So as my work into my own self became more and more awakened, and my connection with Mary Magdalene and the ancient priestesses, I became more connected to bees. And so I even said, I joked with my husband saying, I really would love to get to, have a beehive and like, to really keep bees in the backyard. He was like, Jamie, there's got to be like he's very left brain. Jamie, there's got to be an ordinance against that. You can't just do that. And I was like, well, why can't I can do whatever I want to do, but it's because of their magic, their power. And I have to tell you that every day, I'm not lying to you, every day I call on the magic of the bees, and I do ask them for a sacred message for me and what I most need to know. And I will share my message today with them and what they shared with me. But going into a little bit more recently, about 2 weeks ago, we discovered where our back patio is and where our chairs sit up against the siding of the house. There is in the siding, there's a beehive. And the bees are incredibly protective of their queen and their hive. And so I can see, I connect with them in a way that I know that they've got their little warriors, their sentinels that come out and actually scout the area anytime there's a vibrational shift around them. And my poor Aura, my puppy, got a little too nosy, a little too close, and everybody saw her photo. She got, she was warned. She didn't listen. And so she did have an allergic reaction. I had to take her to the vet, but I actually am the only one that can sit next to that hive. And it is so relaxing. The bees just fly around me. They do not bother me. My husband runs in the other direction and he's like, Jamie, come away. The bees are coming. If you even make any movement there, they will come out and inspect. And I said, just sit still. As long as you sit still, they just want to see what your intentions are. And I sit there with them, and I have to tell you, kind of corroborating what you just said, the energy of them is it's so familiar. It's so peaceful. Yeah. And it is so calming. I do just sit there in my chair, and they come out, they inspect, they swarm around, but they don't bother at all. So it's beautiful. I have probably at least 15 bees at a time that will come out and just swarm around and then go back. I love it. It's beautiful. I love that you shared that. I can't even believe that you shared that, because I'm telling you.
Well, no, it's been such, I know there's something going on, because I was so obsessive about making this video, and it was so hard. I kept hitting so many technical problems, and I just wouldn't let it go. And I thought, either I'm trying to avoid something else, or I'm just obsessed with bees right now. And I managed to make it. And if anybody wants to see it, it's on my YouTube channel, Rachel Goodwin. And also the link to the BBC video is on there as well. Because one of the things the women said on there, she said, one of the Slovenian women, she said, when you're listening to all the beat and you're there, their energy is all surrounding you. And I thought, I've got something where I'm taking on the energy of bees at the moment. I love that you said that about Isis. I've had dreams about Isis. I haven't had a lot of dreams about a lot of goddesses. There's been just 3 or 4 maybe, and Isis is one that I've had a couple about. And I know that she's very, significant for me. But this is coming in now. There's something. Obviously the bee thing has been relevant for a long time, because they are disappearing, and that is of great concern to all right-minded thinking people on the planet. But there's something. And years ago, I had a dream about a bumblebee, and it was a huge bumblebee, and it came and it put its spin right into there, its big pointy thing. And I woke up yelling my head off.
Wow.
Absolutely. It was such a dream. And I know it means
activation,
something.
My dear. That was an activation.
Yeah, it was a long time ago now. I think because this was the other thing I wanted to talk about. You was the divine feminine thing. I had been initiated as a priestess, but I really love bumblebees, particularly. You know, like they nest in like trees and all these little hidden places, don't they? And I love it when I see where they live. It's like a
Yeah.
little
Well,
fairy
the bees
hole.
are the sacred feminine. I mean, they are connected to the divine feminine energy, that sacred feminine, and everything about them. If you just think about their whole, they have their queen bee is elevated, and the entire colony protects the queen. They protect the queen, and even the males are there solely to, help. One, they bring about frequency and energy to the entire colony. But they are also working towards their essential goal is to be able to procreate with the queen. So it's all about the sacred feminine. Their hives are designed in natural, sacred, geometric, like the designs and the laws of the universe. So they're very cosmic. And they're very powerful. It's very symbolic that they are so strong right now. And many of us that are connecting more with bees or just have this affinity for bees, it is because this is an ancient memory being woken up within our own cells, within our DNA. And we have been, like you said, on your path of, being a priestess, and myself as well, been working with this in many lifetimes, that we know and we have been keepers or guardians of the bees with this ancient wisdom and knowledge and magic that they bring. So it's a powerful time of restoration with the sacred feminine right now, a return to balance. And the bees are assisting with that. They are so important. This is why it's such a big topic right now as well. But kind of going to take it back a little bit to, if you remember when, sadly, Notre Dame actually, caught on fire and just complete destruction. There's higher symbolic messages there that I'm not going to really go into right now, but there are higher symbolic messages regarding that. But if you know that, I don't know if you're familiar with, there were bees being kept on one of the roofs of the buildings in Notre Dame. Do you know that they were protected and they were not destroyed in that fire? That was a very powerful symbolic message of the sacred feminine. So through the ashes, through the fires of transformation, the sacred feminine returns and rises. So, and this is not, obviously to put back the sacred masculine, because there's a partnership here. This is about equality, but the sacred feminine being restored to her rightful place to bring back harmony between the two. So it's really funny. There's another really quick story I'll share with you. So, you know how you talked about the dream and how it was right here, which we know there's a very powerful chakra between.
It was right on the hairline. Yeah, it was right on the.
There's a very powerful, rare chakra that is not spoken about. And I actually forget the name, so I do apologize. But you cannot even access this chakra until you've accessed your third eye. And there's like multiple in between. And then you access this one. It brings this divine alignment between soul star, crown, these ones, and your third eye. And it's a very powerful awakening. So I have learned through personal experience that when we are stung, it is actually a form of activation by the sacred keeper. Sometimes, yes, it's a warning, but there's something further. There's always a bigger message there. So to further help people understand this, where there's a will, there's a way with the divine. Back in January, before COVID hit, I was at the grocery store. And I was in the grocery store in the middle of winter shopping. And as I got to the checkout line, there was, I'm holding on to the end of, it's a metal shopping cart, everyone. So holding on to the end of the shopping cart. Our shopping carts have like this little, it looks like where you would put a license plate holder. And it's for advertisements. So local businesses want to advertise their business. In this teeny tiny little plastic crevice that was on top of the end of the cart, I had my hand just lightly holding over top of that. I'm focusing on paying at the same time. all of a sudden I feel this, I couldn't even explain it at the time because it was this sharp prick of a pain. And it felt like it just intensified more and more and more as time went on. And I got to the point where I absolutely thought that I was going to pass out or black out from the pain. And I was in the middle of a grocery store, so I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying to pay. And the pain just was mind blowing. I felt like I left my body for a second. I'm not even going to lie. And I have a strong threshold for pain. So it really did take me to a next level. And after I got out of the grocery store, I started checking the cart thinking there was a needle or something happened because it made no sense. I never felt anything like that. And I've been stung by wasps as well as bees before. This was not like that. So I'm checking and inspecting the cart and I'm banging on the cart. There's nothing coming out. There's no movement. So I get home and I start doing my research. I'm like, it's January. How can I have been stung by something? Sure enough, the queen bees or queen wasps only will survive throughout the winter, and they will go into what is like a dark, tiny crawl space where they can survive and be prepared to emerge in the spring to basically repopulate their colony and start anew. Especially with wasps, they will not survive the winter. Only the queens tend to survive. So what are the chances that I was stung by a queen bee or a queen wasp in the middle of January inside the grocery store? Makes no sense, right? So I know there's a higher purpose and a higher meaning, and I start to ask for guidance. Sure enough, I heard that it was a DNA activation of my ancient Sophia feminine Christ codes. So we work together, even if sometimes it stings a bit. So those bees are here facilitating great change right now. And those of us being drawn to this conversation today, having similar experiences, Rachel, it is awakening of our feminine creation codes here and working in co-creation with the bees as the bees. If you think about that, we ourselves are the worker bees for the queen bee.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, I really, really love that. And yeah, because I can remember having a conversation with someone when I went on my introductory course to Savor for the Nordic shamanism in Sweden. And she was on a bee shamanism course. She was training to be a bee shaman because she was like, oh, why don't you do that? And I was like, yeah, but I think doing the Nordic stuff is what I need to do right now. And but I always know spirit will like, I have to do now I'm just obsessed with I have to put that video on and have it on at night. Now
I love that. I love that. And I never thought about it that way. With everything that I have worked with or researched and understood about the bees and the ancient bee priestesses, that I've never heard. So I think that's amazing, especially during this really challenging, energetic time for people who are having difficulty sleeping, but also just high anxiety levels right now. So wonderful.
Yeah, because I looked it up on the internet and they were saying bee tourism in Slovenia has really gone up. And I thought, well, that's great for people who want to go there, who can travel. But those of us that are stuck in our homes, let's just have a bee video.
That's perfect. It is perfect. Now, and disclaimer, we're not telling you to sit with the bees. Listen, play at your own discretion there. But
if anybody's got a hive and wants to record their bees, please send it to me. I would love to hear like different bees, to hear if there was a different energy or a different sound I'm really, really
obsessed
with bees.
And right after I was stung, I forgot to tell you this, right after I was stung, my neighbor, it's my husband's friend who, I rarely sit down and have conversations with. They more so have their conversations. But he sat down with me and he had a conversation. He just randomly asked me out of the blue if I liked honey. And I was like, yes, I drink raw honey in my tea all the time. I love honey, And he said, well, I've got all these little jars of honey that were given to me. Would you like them? Sure enough, he brings them over and they are called, the name of the company is called Queen Bee. It was right after I was stung. Not lying. So it's amazing. I see we have quite a few people commenting right now. Angie Walters actually said that she was doing the bee mudra today, which is the Brahmin's mudra. So I'm going to have to look
Oh,
that up.
I love that.
What?
Yeah, I really like
Marie?
that. Yeah, that's the one where you hum. It's where you hum. You go, and block your
Really?
ears
I've
off.
never heard of this mudra, so I'm going to have to look this up. Marie actually says, I was just stung by
Yeah.
a bee on my hand a month or so ago. It was my hand as well, and it was my left one, and it was right where those the lines are at the end of your pinky. So I find that fascinating. And I haven't been stung since I was a kid. My grandparents were born in
Yeah.
Slovenia as well. Look at that.
Ah, cool.
Ooh, I got
I reckon they're
chills.
the
I
bee
got
people.
chills.
Yeah.
So
So they're like, they've got a lineage of beeness
So
about
this
them or
is the bee
something.
oracle that I work with, and today this was the card that I actually pulled for myself today. For again, I ask every day for a message from the bees and my lineage of the ancient bee priestesses, and it is a number 11. Okay, and it is the bee star cluster, the cosmic bee mother. And there has been so much discussion these past couple of weeks about us really literally being in the cosmic womb again, that place of, where we return to, where the end is, but it's also that place of great potential where we are birthed from. So it is nothing and everything at the same time. So it's fascinating that this card comes out today on the day of a full moon in Aquarius, which has the vibration and number 11 today, because Aquarius is the 11th zodiac, as well as it is in 11 degrees of Aquarius today. And the card is an 11, which is that master number of, really like new opportunities, higher awareness, big leaps in consciousness. The cosmic womb to me is really about us going to that place of really that metaphoric death where we're leaving behind one way. And this full moon is facilitating that whole rebirthing of us coming into this new energy, this new way of being for ourselves. And I'm going to talk all about moon on that moon day later today on Magical Me at 7 p.m. Eastern time, all about the full moon and its, power. But I just found that to be really incredibly fascinating.
I've got to say, I really love your gold
Thank you.
eyeshadow.
I'm telling you, I'm not making it up. I'm going to take a picture and send it to you later that it has a bee on the actual outside of the palette.
Yeah, but there is I think all that golden, there is a sort of a whole bee thing going on. I'm going to go and get some gold eyeshadow now.
Yes, everybody has to have gold eyeshadow.
I don't have any.
This is the deck. It's called the Bee Oracle deck.
Oh.
And I'll tell you who it's by. Angie, I can't pronounce this, Twildall. She is a sacred bee priestess and bee guardian. I found this deck. It's just so cool. I found this deck back in Glastonbury 2 years ago, I think. It's like, I love this. It's really cool. And obviously,
I've run out of room now on my shelf now. I can't get any more Oracle cards.
This one, like I said, I came across it in Glastonbury and I was going to get it, but it was really high priced at the time. And I thought, you know what, let me think about it. I never got back to the store and I never got to get it. And then the following year when I went, they didn't have it available. Tried to purchase it off their website and they went out of stock for a while. And I was heartbroken. It came back in stock, but wouldn't ship to the United States. So I was devastated. And one of my really good friends lives in Scotland. She was able to get it. She purchased it and then shipped it to me. So that is my journey with this amazing deck. I love it. The information in there is just profound for anybody who's really being called to bees and the sacred magic that they hold, and even the sacred magic of the ancient bee priestesses. I definitely recommend this.
Oh, you can buy it online. I can see it here, £30.
Yeah, it is. It's a little pricey, but I think that's because I don't think they've gone with like a big publisher. They might be self-published, but it was worth it for me. I just adore it.
It's my birthday soon.
Well, then, there you go.
I think I might have to buy it for myself as a birthday present.
It is incredible. I really love it. So, yeah, one thing that card represented, the cosmic bee mother, there were all, what I love about it is how they all have their roles. all the bees have their roles in the hive, and all of the priestesses all had their roles. And there were some that were actually specifically focused on when someone in the tribe or in, you know, in the hive would pass away or was getting ready to pass. There were these ones that were considered doulas of death. And they actually helped, just the same way doulas brought in life to the world. These doulas helped life cross out of the world and back to the cosmic mother. So they really made sure that there was no fear, and it was all about having that love and sympathy at this powerful time of transcendence. And I think that's a really great message for all of us from the bee mothers, is we are leaving behind one way right now. It's very, especially with this full moon and what it's going to facilitate over the next half of the year. We're really leaving behind one way, and it's important to not have fear as we do go through this cosmic transcendence, I guess you could say, because what we are giving birth to is far greater, is far bigger. And obviously it's important to be in that grieving and, you know, and sitting with what you're feeling, but no fear. And because of what is coming in, and just the vibration of fear is so enslaving and really does keep us back in the old versus coming into the new place. So, yeah.
I have really been feeling those difficult feelings and grief, and all sorts of things have been coming up. And as I mentioned to you before we came on live, I haven't had time to like look at anything because, we've had our son home on holiday, and I've also had other things I'm trying to keep up with. But maybe it wasn't about looking into it, because I do try and look into things and work with my shadow stuff and all the rest of it. But it's like this bee energy that's coming in now. It's bringing in another thing, and it really makes sense. It really makes sense what you're saying. Yes, I've got a few comments here. Rosa Maria says, "Oh my God, you're the queen bee, Jamie."
I love you. I love you. I love that, but I'm not. I'm a worker bee just like everyone else. So.
And Sarah Helene Dakin, she said, both my friend and myself had visiting bees in our house during the same week in May. Big swarm in our area. Went to her house. Some honeybees came down my chimney. Both sets were asked kindly to leave and did so. And she says both of us have been going through transformation since.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I do actually get bumblebees coming in quite a lot. We're up on the second, third floor. We're quite high, and I think there must be some bees like living in the roof or something. But yeah, I talk to them when they come in. I say, "Hello, lovely to see you." There's the window, because I don't want them to get sort of come in too far and get trapped and start banging themselves against the glass. They get all distressed, don't they? So yeah, and they do it. It nearly always works. It's the wasps.
No, they're not. Also, they have their sacred role, but yeah, they don't listen. They're not as they're not as mindful as the bees. But
no, they sort of whiz about going bang, bang, get really annoyed.
Just like Sarah did, she was aware of them there. She's aware of that they're going through a transformational period, and she asked them kindly to leave. I think that's a wonderful thing to do, because, obviously some people are highly allergic. So we're not telling you just let the bees come in, but oftentimes the awareness is what's important. So taking that moment to say, okay, the bee is here. What is the bee message trying to share with me? And from what or even if you want to do a little bit more of your own research on, working with energy of bees or just their messages, that's a really good opportunity for you to download that awareness, and then they go away, because it's really just about bringing in the message that you most need. Their flight is very powerful. It is moving energy, but the way that they fly, it's not actually, it's even believed that they don't really fly, that they hover. They kind of, I forget how it was explained, but it seems that they move sometimes in like spiral movement, but it's actually like they hover, and they work with the energy or the frequency. I'm gonna have to find that.
Well, yeah, no, because scientifically they still don't know like how bumblebees fly. they're still like trying to work that one out. I mean, the last thing I read anyway, unless they found out since I read that, but it's like, oh, there's so much we don't know.
And
there is so
and
much
what they're doing with the flowers too, like flowers hold their own, every single thing on the planet holds its own vibration and its own codes. And flowers hold their own frequency, and they each have codes that are necessary and essential for the evolvement of the planet. And so what the bees do is they actually carry codes from every planet. They are like, they're like code workers, if you will, because they're taking from every plant into the planet, and they are pollinating, and then they're bringing it back to the hive, which, if you think about that symbolically, it's taking the necessary codes that are coming in and carrying it back to the hive and activating and awakening every bee that they come in contact with there, or for the good of the all. So, when a bee does come to you, just take that moment to accept the codes that it might be carrying and bringing forward for you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of places around here where there's bees. I can go and sit there and ask for some messages. I haven't thought of doing that. That's lovely.
I love that. And I'm always looking for like new honey to try, because honey itself carries the codes as well. But the raw, organic honey is my favorite. I think wildflower is my favorite, but
I am so going to have my own beehives one day when I'm living somewhere where I can have beehives. I'm so having a beehive. Like,
my husband was like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, never mind. Never mind.
I tried some bee pollen once, and I didn't love that so much. I bought it when the last time I was in France. And it was up around Rennes-le-Château, and there was a village near there, and we went to a market, and somebody was selling like jars of bee pollen. I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. And he was like, oh, it's great, put it on your muesli. And I did, and it was like...
I have never had that. So what is it like honey?
It's a strange taste. No, it's not sweet. It's not sweet, which I don't mind because I can't eat too much sugar, even though I do. No, it was like these little balls of like orange stuff. And the texture was all right, and the smell was all right, and it had a lovely energy. I just really didn't like the taste.
Never had that. Well, what an interesting conversation this was today.
No, no.
Thank you
for all of that.
I could talk about bees all day. Oh my! So you brought up my getting back to work in the temple, in the space where I do my healing sessions now with clients. And my client on Saturday, she actually, when I was done with the end of her session, was actually grounding her energy and my energy back in. As I was done, I actually saw the bee goddess. And when I say the bee goddess, obviously there's not one, but if you Google bee goddess, there's a specific look, this goddess that has been engraved in stone on temples. She actually has a bee-shaped body. And I specifically said that to her. So I can't even believe all of this is just coming about like this right now. My mind is kind of blown. And I was like, I'm going to send you information on, the bee goddesses and the bee priestesses and the bees, the energy of them are trying to connect with you. So didn't even put two and two together until now.
But that's it. So this is happening because there's a thing going on, and that's it. Unconsciously, I'm really, really tuned in to these things, which is why I don't worry so much about reading astrology and everything like that.
Exactly,
because it all comes in. It all comes in anyway. But it's lovely to hear all this, isn't it? Because it's just like, life is so magic. Life is just so magic. And I love that thing about Isis, because as I said, that's she's really special to me, Isis. So I have one of those Isis statues with the wings, and apparently that's like a later one, because she also has the sort of the horns, cow horns, and that is it Hathor. It's but that came later. I bought it in Glastonbury. Somebody gave me that. somebody gave me the whole thing. But I
Yeah,
really
a lot of
really
the
loved her.
ancient, energies, like the that we're familiar with, like Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Inanna. These were all under the Isis teachings, but it wasn't solely in Egypt that these teachings, they've gotten them in Noan. That this goes back to the name Melissa actually comes from the way I pronounce it. I don't know if it's accurate, but I always see it Melissae. And the Melissae were the actual Bee Priestesses. And that's from, I believe, Minoan. There's Bee Priestesses in Greece. There's Bee Priestesses amongst the native shamans.
Is that amazing? I was talking to someone just like a couple of days ago. I can't even think why now.
Was
about
me.
Melissa and the name
was
Melissa.
It was me.
My God, I can't believe that.
It was.
Was it you? No, I think it was some guy I know who's a healer, and he said something about Melissa, and I said, "Oh, that's funny. She's called Melissa because in Glastonbury, the people who attend the temple, they're called Melissas."
Yeah.
And I was going,
no, I think too.
So
we had a conversation too, unless this was happening on another dimension, because we. I think I was recently telling you about one of the women that I was working with, and her name was Melissa from Glastonbury. And it was her real name. I think so. Maybe this happened in another dream, in like a dream state or on another timeline.
Maybe we did, but I also had this conversation with this other guy as well. It's like, perhaps it is. Perhaps it's like while I was listening to those bees, we were having a conversation about.
Wow. Yeah, I love it.
I mean, that was another thing. I mean, we'll have to talk about it next time because we don't have the time to really get into this conversation. But so I trained as a priestess when Josh, I almost said Benji then, I always get him wrong. Josh, he's my eldest. I did 2 years. I think I did a year, then I had a year off, then I did another year. And I think the last year I was pregnant with Josh. So it must have been 2000 that I did it. So it was a long time ago. And it was great. I really loved it. It was such a spiritual reconnection for me. And I know we've sort of talked about priestess things before. But I would love to hear you talk about like your spirals that you do. I mean, the one I did, it was based on Kathy Jones, who's like very, influential in setting up the goddess temple in Glastonbury. She did like what's it called? I can't even think now because this is before the days of email. When you used to send out letters to people and they would learn by letter,
like an invitation.
I can't even think. What's that called? It was a course to become a priestess, but it was sent out by post. I can't even, before the day of internet. Well, somebody else, Diana Summers, she did that with Kathy. And then she set up her own thing where we were in Surrey, and she trained loads of us, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I went from being a person, because I was very skeptical in that when I grew up. And my dad was an atheist, even though he took us to Rennes-le-Château when I was 15. Still don't actually really know why. Well, I do. It was the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. But why was he never read stuff like that? He was like, he used to read books about the Second World War and tanks and I have no idea. And he's passed now years ago, so I can't ask him. But I've lost myself now. See, I was getting all excited.
The priestess, and you mentioned my spiral temple that I do.
Oh yeah, and we did this thing that sort of Kathy Jones put together, and it was fantastic, and it was just so me. But up until that moment, I'd been really like, I would have thought anybody who did that sort of thing was just loony. Yeah, and then I discovered I had been a psychiatric nurse, so I was like, oh, it's not loony. That's when I really started to sort of, I'd always like experienced things psychically, but never like that. I was just, the goddess was, I would see her in different forms, and she was just so alive to me, and I was like, oh, this is what I was always missing in church. I couldn't find. But yeah, no, I'd love to. I know we can't really get into it tonight, but I would just, because like the transmissions we're
Yeah.
doing, they're so divine, aren't they? I mean, and it's made me realize there's so much more for the divine feminine to do. Because all these years I've been grappling with working with Sarah and this unity consciousness, which is fantastic and it's wonderful, but it's always stretching me and taking me out of my comfort zone. Whereas the divine feminine, it's just like, oh, it's like going home.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I love that work. It was something for me. I did train as a priestess a long time ago as well. Probably my, I don't know, early 2000s. And it was a little different setting then. It was a little bit more of, coven back then. And that was, there was always something there though, like I always knew that I was called to this path, but I didn't really fully understand it. And the more that, I went on this journey of just, really looking more into the energy of what is the goddess, it was me. It was home. It was always home. I always knew. And so I began to further explore it, just continuously looking more at that. And then I was called to work with others with it. And that's when, the Spiral Temple actually formed and, which is actually going to be opening back up in September. So yeah, maybe next week we can talk a little bit about that.
I would really love to. I would really love to, because it's so, I feel like the work I did was a long time ago. But I feel, I always feel like the goddess, she's at the foundation of everything that I do, because she's at the foundation of my soul, But I don't have those real life conversations about her anymore. So and I miss that. I really do. I really do miss that. And when I'm talking about my spiritual work, it's usually about Sarah. So which is fine, but it's sort of, I miss that.
There's no time, no better time than now, right? It's all coming forward like this for a reason, and we know that. And so maybe this is something that's going to start to evolve within your work, Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think so. There's just, it's always been there. But I think like this time, the work that I'm doing now, that is what I'm supposed to be. That is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, and that's fine. You can't do the same things every time. Like, yeah. But I love the transmissions that we're doing, precisely because there's so much profound, defined feminine energy that's coming through both of us. And it's just like, all these past life soul connections are really coming to being used.
And it feels so ancient, when it's interesting, because when I first started understanding light language, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. And it felt like this was very new, very new earth, which it is. Yes, it is. But it felt very new, and it felt very foreign for other people, like how other people were going to accept it from me, if that made sense. And, the more and more I was being guided to just, it was happening during healing sessions with clients. It felt very natural for me, but I felt very uncomfortable for them because I didn't know. It felt so different than what we're used to and what everybody's expecting. But the more and more I worked with the energy of it and allowing the light codes to just move through me, it just felt so ancient. Like this is what I've been doing all along, even though I haven't, not in this life anyway, even though it's something that's only developed within the last 2 or 3 years, it just felt like this is so ancient. And the more we work with it now, the more people are so receptive to it. They're really opening up, and it doesn't feel new anymore. It feels very ancient.
Yeah, that's it. It's been revived. It's been revived. And
No.
you haven't been to Malta, have you? Oh, really? You've got to go to Malta. But when the world's moving
Yes, I
again,
will go to
promise
Malta.
me you will
Absolutely. I would
go to
love
Malta.
to. My soul can't stay still.
Let's
Yes, there we go. Look at
head
that. Maybe
together.
that's what's happening there in the works. We're setting the intention from our lips to the universe's
Yeah,
ears. We'll be in Malta together.
because I was supposed to go there with my family for our first foreign holiday in about 6 years, and it got cancelled because of COVID. But yeah, I really would. I've always known that I'm supposed to go and do spiritual work there. I've just been like waiting for life to like make some possibilities. It's not easy when you've got a special needs kid, is it? To suddenly just go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm going to go and fly off around the world. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you're staying at home, mother, and doing your mother stuff. It's like, okay, all right then. But no, definitely this. Oh, it's just amazing. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so we have our Patreon page, the Cosmic Heart. I have just put a new level on there. It's like a $5 amount, and it's if people really like our show and you want to come and show us some support for us coming here and doing this and sharing the things that we share. I've put the link on the Evolving into the Cosmic Heart page. So if you want to have a look, there it is. And there's two levels. There's the 5 and there's the 22. And the 22 is like our private members group where we do our transmissions, which they've really been an experience for us, haven't they?
It's interesting. It's different every time we do it. So it's very, very divine flow.
And very strong and very powerful. It's a bit like having like 100 healing sessions all in one thing.
I know. Rachel's like, we can't do these late at night anymore. Yeah. And
I'll be all right. I'll just go listen to my bees.
Your answer. You'll have to let us know how that works out too, so that something tried and proven.
Well, I can only get away with it at the moment because my husband, he suffers really bad from mugwort allergy. He's really allergic to mugwort, and there's a lot of it around where we live. But I have to sleep with the window open at night because otherwise I can't sleep. And he can't have the window open because he gets so pollinated in the morning. He's like drugged. He can't wake up. So he's having to sleep in a different room to me at the moment.
Oh my goodness.
I can listen to bees all night.
Yeah, I accidentally inhaled mugwort one time. And I definitely felt like I left my body. So mugwort, if you said he feels like he's drugged when he wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, so mugwort, when they're out this time of year, he just sort of like has to live a life inside. I mean, he's just like, and he's useless. Honestly, he gets up in the morning, he just stands there in the kitchen. He's like, and I have to say, right, Thomas, make the tea.
Wow.
Thomas, do this. He can't think
I can understand that. I had, like I said, one time very loose, fine mugwort, and I was actually making a dream pillow with it. Because mugwort is fantastic for lucid dreaming, divination. And I was making a dream pillow with it, but I had the fan on and I wasn't aware. Like I wasn't thinking about that. As I'm like sitting there doing it, I'm breathing in these very fine, pieces of mugwort. I started feeling like, I don't feel like I'm in my body. I don't feel right. That's what it was. So word of caution. I'd imagine so. I mean, I drank it purposely one time in divination tea, and I didn't have a negative effect. It felt very, you have to be very mindful with it. And it was okay. Like I felt very relaxed, but I know some of the other people that drank the same tea actually were seeing things that weren't there. So I think it definitely impacts people differently. So word of caution with mugwort there. Yeah, that's really funny.
Oh, that's great. So is there anything else
so the transmissions that we do offer are not just solely in our private group. although we do those monthly for all members in the group, we do offer them individually for what people most need. So between Rachel and myself, we actually, so depending on what the person's current situation is, if it's something that they want to share with us, tell us what they're currently feeling, experiencing, feeling blocked in, or maybe there's just something that they're ready to release and they're really struggling with releasing it. Rachel and I come together and divinely channel these light transmission in the form of light language, singing, vocal toning, and we put it together specifically for that person. And it is a transmission that you then receive via recording, and you listen to that as many times as you need. And it tends to gradually adjust, assist, heal, release. It's very powerful. And the experiences that we've had in working with people right now, we've had nothing but amazing feedback with those. So if you're interested, we do offer them. You just send us a private message, and they are currently $55. And if you are in our private members group, they are $33. All about the power
we
numbers.
just love those power numbers.
I think that's it. I think that's all.
Great. And if we want to know about the astrology, you'll be talking more about the full
Yes, I
moon
will. I will be live on Magical Me
today.
6:37 p.m. Eastern time tonight. I haven't decided yet. Depends on what my day looks like, but usually 7 p.m. the latest. I will announce it on Magical Me.
Brilliant. All right.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with
nice
us.
To be
much
back.
love throughout your week. Bye.
Yeah. See you again soon. Bye. Bye.